Cheers, my fellow chatterers, and anyone else who's popped by because you're curious or you're lost. I'm Chatty and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I will be chatting away, explaining what's happening with my September TBR. So yes, I'm very much aware we're now in the middle of September. I recorded a video last week. But as you know on my channel, I do one-shots. We have one shot, there is no editing because of my laptop. I'm looking into like editing programs that you can do on the internet, but I'm really not there yet. And what I enjoy the most is being able to put out content. So it's one shot, I just go with it and let the dice fall where they may. Usually it involves chaos. So my September TBR, I did my book game, recorded my video, but I do pause it so that I can run and get things and not leave you by yourselves. That's the plan anyway. I also flip the camera over so that I can record like stuff that I'm moving on the board sometimes. Because I'm also doing Bookopoly as well. So there was my game and there was Bookopoly rolls. Unfortunately, when I flipped the camera to do a roll, I didn't press record. So there's a huge chunk, well not huge, there's a bit of a chunk missing from my video. And there's also a 2-minute segment where you're literally just staring at my bookshelves. So I felt the need to come on and explain how to watch my September TBR video. So please, please, please listen to me so that you can enjoy it. Because I do think, like everyone else, book games are so much fun. Bookopoly is so much fun as well. So I really want you to get the best experience of watching as much as I can. So it is absolutely fine. Start the video, start the actual September TBR video until you get to 7:47. I'm going to put timestamps in so it's going to be easier to find. When you get to 7:47, stop that video and come back to this one. That makes sense? I'll see you in a little bit. Go have fun. Okay, so by now you should have seen the first roll. I got roll away. I got my 6 cards, but you never saw which one I picked. So I'm here to tell you, I can't remember if it showed on there, but I rolled a 6. So the prompt card that I got for this one is Urban or City book. So I have the perfect book for this one. I'm very excited to get it onto my TBR, and that is The Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. So this is an adult epic fantasy / sci-fi. It's got sci-fi elements in it because of the technology. This is era 2 of Mistborn. If you've heard of Mistborn, starts with the Final Empire and then goes into the World of Ascension and the Heroes of All Ages. That is era 1. It's very epic, so epic, brilliant. And it's got like a medieval kind of feel to it. It continues 300 years later in era 2, where we have more of a Wild West vibe. So it's a lot more light-hearted. It's kind of got more of a sort of like crime detective, law, sheriff element to it as well. And it feels a lot lighter. What I also love about this series is that everything we've read in era 1 is then like law, legend and religion for era 2, which I love. I also love this series more because I think Sanderson's writing's improved and it's a lot tighter. They're also smaller. I mean, if you compare this to Mistborn first era, much, much smaller, which is not usually something that Sanderson does, but it does prove he can also write a smaller book as well as a massive, you know, elephant, blue whale, dinosaur tomb. So in these books, you also have much better sort of like developed female characters. Like you understood what he was trying to do in era 1, but I think having strong females who are very much their own independent people comes much more naturally and organic in this one. So the first book is The Aloe of Law that I have just reread. Had the best time with it. It was so nice. I had a Hob hangover, so being able to pick up The Aloe of Law and just be able to read a book and it just felt so nice. It just felt great. So I'm so tempted to just pick this up straight away, but there's other books I also want to be reading. So I refrained, I put it down because I also feel I'm going to be getting not just Hob, but probably Chorus of Dragons hangovers soon. So I feel I'm going to need this book to kind of get me through that. I can't wait to reread it. It's so good. And then I've got the third one to reread, and then the fourth one is being released in November, and I'm so excited to see how this series ends. So, first book on my September TBR is Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. So what I then did, which you won't see because at this point I still did not realise that I hadn't pressed record and I'm just talking away to a camera that's not recording me. So I rolled again and I got another one. Another one. It felt like the dice are loaded. They're not, they're just made of foam. But I got another one. So I'm still on that middle square, just using that same one dice. And I had chosen the green one to go, so I could either get a ladder or get a blue. I chose a lucky ladder. I want to turn over these cards, thank you very much. So the card I pulled out was Feagle. I have been playing this game since before May. I did some kind of scrappier versions in like March and April. So since March, I've been playing this book game to choose my TBR, and I have never pulled out Feagle, which is one of the cards I am most excited for. So if you are not familiar, Feagles are small blue sort of pixie-like characters that feature in Terry Pratchett's Dischord series in the Tiffany Aching mini-series within the overall series. And they are hilarious. They love fighting, drinking and stealing. And that's where the Feagle bit comes in, stealing. I get to steal a book. So when I buy books, they go under my bed. I can't get them straight away. If someone gives me a gift or is doing a clear out and gives me books, I keep those and those go on my shelves. But books I buy for me, unless it's like a birthday present or something, it goes under the bed and I need to earn it. This is encouraging me to try and be healthy, both mentally and physically, and to do things that are good for me to do. Not been great recently, so I've not been getting many books up. So if I get a certain amount of points, I get to give myself a book from under my bed and then it can go on the shelf and then I can read it. So with a Feagle, I get to steal one without being healthy. I don't need to be healthy to get a book. So this is such a fun prompt. So it really is a lucky ladder. And it's the first one I got. So I was so excited to get this one. So what I think I've done is pause it and then rush upstairs. What I've actually done is turn the camera on. So I turn the camera on, disappear upstairs, and then you have the 2 minutes footage of my bookshelves. But now I've covered everything you've missed. So you should now be able to go back into the actual September TBR game. I think I'm calling it part 2, so September TBR part 2. Please go and start watching that video now. So you're basically rejoining it at 9 minutes 28, but again, it should be timestamped. And then I continue to do rolls 3 and 5, and then I do my Bookopoly rolls. Sorry for the chaos, but hey ho, that's what happens when you're doing a one-shot no edit. Cheers everyone, enjoy the rest of the September TBR.